Hey folks, Chad with Data Prep U here. Today we're going to walk through each of the default tools in the Alteryx Designer using only one workflow. Let's take a look. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a relatively decent sized workflow, but pretty straightforward. Now, in order to really start to break this down, it's important to understand what each of the tools actually do in your favorites category. So for those of you unfamiliar, Alteryx actually has all of these different types of tools that perform different tasks on your data, and they're all broken out nicely by some sort of a different color. So you have tools for preparation, for joining and parsing and transformation, all the way to predictive analytics, demographic analysis, geospatial analysis, and so forth. Now, in this case, by default, there are several favorites tools. Now, these are the most commonly used tools in Alteryx. And what I've done is I've put together a simple workflow that demonstrates how each of those tools get used. Now, what we're looking at here are three different data sources. Now, two of them come from external files. The first one is coming from a spreadsheet where we take some sample customer data. At the bottom here, we have some sample transaction data in the form of a CSV file or just some sort of delimited file. And then finally, we have a sample set of store location addresses that are all stored directly in the canvas itself using what's called a text input tool. Now, each of these three different file or data formats have to go through some sort of a cleansing process and some sort of a preparation process, ultimately so we can analyze the top 10 customers for a specific customer segment in our data. If I take a quick look at our input data here, I can see that we've got in this customer segment or in this customer file a list of customer IDs, a lot of really good customer information here, and then each customer is broken out by segment. So ultimately what I'm trying to do is break down to an individual segment and look at the top 10 customers for that segment. Now with the customer file itself, I first go through a quick little data cleanse process just to clean up this data, replacing blank values with, or replacing null values with either blanks or zeros, removing leading and trailing white space. I then go through and take the actual name field. There's a name field that contained first name and last name, and I actually split this up into first name and last name based off of this space here. I then go through a quick little rename process and reposition process to take that first name and last name and put it in the right location. Now, the next data stream here is relatively straightforward. It's just the store address, and what we're trying to do is attach a store name to each of our customers so we know where their favorite store actually is. So we go through and just do a quick little cleanup here with a little double check with our select tool, and then we go into the join process, joining the two based off of that store number to store ID. Now finally, we have sample transaction data. Now this has a lot of information in it that's really valuable, but ultimately for this specific type of analysis, I'm only trying to figure out the top total spend per each customer with this transaction data, so I can then join that to my customer data to ultimately figure out who my top 10 customers are for each segment. Now, I go through this quick little cleanse process here and quick little preparation process where I change some data types using a select tool. I then go in and create a calculated field using a formula tool, just multiplying together price and quantity to ultimately come up with a spend category or spend field. And then finally, I summarize all of my information into unique customer IDs grouped together, counting the number of transactions per customer, but also calculating the total spend per customer. With that information, I can then go through a quick joining customer ID to customer underscore ID, and then actually perform the equivalent of a SQL left join or left outer join, where essentially this goes through and it says, okay, well, I want you to give me all of the customers regardless of whether or not they have a transaction in this particular extract or this particular data source. That's what this entire union piece is here. And then finally, we go through and filter based off of a specific customer segment that we're looking for. In this case, we're looking for home office. And then we do a quick little sort on that total spend, and then ultimately use a sample tool to take the top 10 customers based off of that sorted spend field. Ultimately, in this case, we're going to output to a YXDB file, but knowing that you can actually output to any standard data format, whether it's in a database or some sort of a physical file like a Tableau TDE file or ClickView Data Exchange file, maybe you're even going back out to a CSV or Excel, that's totally fine. The output data tool can handle all of it. If you would like to know more, we actually have this exact workflow available for download located down in the description. Please check it out, walk through it. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know down in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Hey folks, thanks again for watching. If you liked what you saw, please give us a thumbs up and click subscribe below. Those two actions are an incredible help to us every single time. If you want to check out the workflow and you do not yet have Alteryx, there's a link below for a free 2-week trial. Please take a look. There's no obligation whatsoever. Once again, this is Chad with Data Prep U. Thanks for watching. See you next time.